2, phone calls 20, warnings 3, NOVs 1, zoning hearings 1. Anybody from the 150th committee here, or anything from the 150th? Nope. You have anything, Therese, from them? No. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay.
Oh, there's
Mary, there's Mary. Yeah, okay. Thought you. Okay.
I didn't make the last meeting, but he has things planned coming up, so.
Okay, I didn't make the last one either, so. Did Nate make it? Nate Sturge, planning.
Fred has got something.
Oh, sure, yeah.
He was at the last meeting.
We're at reports, and we're looking for 150th update, if there's anything of note.
Oh, yes, well, we just went really good with the history tour. We packed the bus. Also, we're doing license plates. We had pre-orders going. It's been circulating online too. And we're planning for our next couple events. I know Halloween, we're trying to do something with the park on the same day as the safe trick or treat. So we're working on the next event.
Planning Commission, anybody? No, Nate? Received 2 letters from them about a half hour before the meeting. I didn't even have a chance to review them yet. I think it's in regards to their plans going forward, some points they want to talk on, and then they have established, they would like the council to view their bylaws, rules, and regulations. So just got that a little bit ago, so we'll have to take some time to review that and maybe have something for next month. Okay, that's all the reports. The next one that everyone's looking forward to, question and answer session regarding the YMCA's proposal for public park land or other potential sites. I know we have some guests here from the YMCA tonight as well that might want to speak after we get through the beginning part of it. I guess what I would say from the borough side of things, since the August meeting, which I was not in attendance at either, as I gather, we received a non-binding letter of intent, had placeholder text for what they envision would be the ideal circumstance for them to acquire a parcel of land. On its face, it was struck down by the solicitor because that's not a way that you could even go about to sell park land. You would have to either subdivide the land and then lease it to another entity, nonprofit, or you would have to, after it's subdivided, put it for public sale after it's appraised, and then sell it to the highest bidder, which would not guarantee who would wind up with the lot. So in between then, we've reviewed the parcel. There's major infrastructure issues there with sanitary sewer lines and other complications to the sale. So we've been looking at other sites, and that's where we're at right now. So I guess we'll just, if you have, we'll open it up for Q&A for the borough side of things. If we, satisfied where we get with there, then we'll have the why. They wanted to speak a little bit about, their organization, how it works, their merger, and other items. So keep it informal, I guess, if you want. Go ahead.
If I could, actually,
Sure.
I think the YMCA should go first, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because that might
I don't know
spark
if they're
some-
going to speak. I'm sorry.
If they intended to. If they didn't, then they didn't.
No, it's fine. They just want to talk about the organization and the merger and different aspects. So
Yeah, it
sure,
may
that's
cover,
fine.
it may cover some of the questions. That's the only,
Yeah,
that's
that
where I'm coming
sounds,
from.
no objections here, so.
Do we want to let other people go for it?
Okay, no particular order, whoever.
I didn't mean to jump up here, but if other people did want to ask questions before the Y spoke.
Is everyone happy with letting the Y?
Yeah, why go intro first.
Sure.
So, hi everybody, I'm Kevin O'Boyle.
Hi.
I'm from Pittston originally. That's where I was born, that's where I live now. So I'll be speaking on behalf of the Y today. I'm a director on the board there. I've been on the board there for like 9 years or something like that. Jim LaPoca is also here. So Jim was on the board of the Freeland YMCA, and Jim stepped down from the board, and Jim is now the executive director of that facility. I'll start a little bit just with like, what is the YMCA? Because it is, you know, it's confusing to people. It is a national organization and a national brand, but all the branches, for the most part, are autonomous. They're their own legal entities. They're their own nonprofits, and that's how they were all founded. It's over the course of time that it's become harder to run those facilities. Cost of construction are higher, code compliance is higher, safety requirements are higher. The Y over time put in place these membership standards where you have to have a CEO. The CEO has to be certified and trained. You have to pass these child protection and safety audits every year. It requires a lot of staffing and a lot of overhead that, you know, 100 years ago when these facilities were built, they didn't have. So over the course of time, Ys have merged together because it made more sense to have one CEO, one CFO, shared services. You could have a development professional, one facilities guy, yada, yada, yada. And our area, let's say Northeast Pennsylvania, was kind of late to the game in doing that. So like if you go to Philadelphia, all the Ys are merged under one entity. Allentown, they're all one entity. Williamsport, they're all one entity. The mergers for Northeast Pennsylvania didn't start until like 2020. And so my Y, and the reason why you're talking to me is this is how I got involved in the organization. I was with the Pittston Y. Every Y gets in financial trouble, then other things happen, and YSA steps in and it starts a process, is basically what happened. And the outcome of our process was we had the choice to disaffiliate from the Y and become a ward of the city of Pittston, which Mayor Lombardo was supportive of. Or we had the choice to merge with another YMCA. We went through a process that they facilitated with a task force. YSA steps in and they help kind of jockey these discussions. Pittston ended up merging with Wilkes-Barre, so Pittston and Wilkes-Barre became a merged organization. A couple of years later, Hazelton went bankrupt around 2019. That building was shuttered. That building merged with our YMCA in around 2023 or something like that. And we've been working on the renovations, trying to reopen that facility and raising fundraising there. So, sorry if that was long. So I'm here representing the Greater Wyoming Valley Area YMCA. Our organization consists of Pittston, Wilkes-Barre, Hazelton, Camp Kresge. We have a couple of specific program sites. We operate a child care center at Centerpoint, a child care center in 44, a child care center at the Bear Creek Charter School, and then the King. As far as our relationship to Freeland, their situation was a little bit similar to Pittston's, and they went through the same process. And so I represented the task force for the Wyoming Valley Area Y. I met Jim and Deb Carr and Kathy McGovern and all those folks. This started in around 23, the middle of 23. Their board voted to merge in 23. Our board did due diligence. We did a facility condition analysis of the building, looked at pro formas, looked at financial plans, whatever. Our board voted on it in 2024. We voted affirmative, but they do a thing called a management agreement. It just drags it out for a year. We were trying to get the structural improvements done to funded and constructed before we accepted the merger. At the time of 2024, the roof was in incredible disrepair. The building facade still had construction netting on it. So there were just risks that our board, you know, we have a fiscal responsibility. You know, our board was trying to be cautious, so we went into this management agreement phase until those improvements got done. Those improvements got done. Our board voted for the merger. And so that paperwork has all been filed. And so, but it's being processed by the state. The last step in the merger process between two nonprofits is like the state reviews it because they review asset transfers between nonprofits. And so currently today, who owns what? And so it is important to say that the merger is not complete. It will be complete in 30 to 60 days. We've gone through all the hurdles. There's no reason that we don't expect it to go through. And it was a choice that the Freeland board made willingly. Until that merger is complete, their board is still separate from our board, which is just, so anyone on the, there's no one currently on the Freeland board that is on the Greater Wyoming Valley Area YMCA board. They are separate entities still at this point. But RY has been managing that facility, and that was a requirement of YUSA. So that's how we got here a little bit. Through the task force process, and this has been, and so our YMCA system is really big into childcare at this point. It's our primary program. It's the program that's in the most demand. It's the one that we're the best at, frankly. And it's been a cornerstone of stabilizing all these facilities. Operating a pool is really expensive. Gyms don't generate a lot of revenue. But childcare is in big demand. And we now operate 6 childcare centers, and we have over 1,000 kids just in Luzerne County, the centers that we have. There's the programming all makes sense. The kids come in at a very young age, they use our programs, and then when it comes time for soccer league and basketball and swim lessons, in some of the centers, the kids who go to daycare get swim lessons in the same facility. The family nights where like the kids stay on Friday and they play basketball, and so there's a lot of synergies between the child care programs and the other youth development programs that the Y offers. So child care has been, especially after COVID, a huge stabilizing influence for all of our different centers. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? We're trying to figure out a way to bring child care to the Freeland YMCA. They have a classroom, licensed for 12. We're trying to fill that. We're marketing that. It's new. A new center always takes time. So we went through a feasibility analysis of how do we get to a child center at reasonable scale in the Freeland Y building. The only place to do it is in the basement or on the 2nd floor. The facility doesn't have an elevator. And we went through the estimates with architects to figure out what it would cost us to do that. And that was obviously our first option, build what's on what you own. That was deemed cost prohibitive, so we should start exploring other options before we go and plunk $1 million in the facility for a child care. And just to back up for a second, all these centers, these child care, they're all new. They all happened in the last 5 years. We were donated the building at Centerpoint. We were donated the building in 44. The Bear Creek Charter School leases us a building for $1. So we came into these assets with partners that wanted to see more child care programming come to the community. We also have bought buildings as well as that time. In Pittston, we bought the building adjacent to us and we paid market rate for that building because it was owned by a private citizen. In Hazleton, we had to buy the Panch's property. We paid market value for Panch's property, but there was other land adjoining, connecting, owned by the Hazelton RDA that was donated to us for $1. So we're not trying to be presumptuous with the idea of $1, but it's about we are a nonprofit. We have to raise a bunch of money and take on debt to make these facilities happen. So the idea is if there is an entity that's willing to donate to a nonprofit to support a project being accelerated, and we're a nonprofit, we raise money for a living. We get very used to begging after a while when all you do is ask for money. So that's how did you come to $1? That's what we do. We're a nonprofit. So now, and we got to the point we're in. Obviously, the Freeland Y is where it is. You want to be as close as possible. So that's why the park came up. The first idea was actually the pavilion that was there. If we could lease the pavilion, add walls, heat, etc. So that could be a daycare during the day and still be the pavilion for the park at night, and there could be at least, that was the first idea. Could we carve out a piece of land and build on it? Or is there another building in town? Because even frankly, the most cost-effective thing for us would be to find a building that needs to be retrofitted. Building greenfield today is crazy expensive, $400, $500 a square foot. So a retrofit is far more economical than a greenfield. This isn't a requirement to do this, but it's just more of the demographics suggest you could do a small center, 30 kids, 40 kids. I'd actually love to hear from the audience today, because again, I'm just looking at demographic data. I'm not from this community. I don't have a relation to ask people. I don't know what they do with their kids. I will. And frankly, the other areas where we have our centers are a little more dense. Hazleton, Wilkes-Barre, Pittston are a little denser than Freeland is. So we don't have any exact timeline. We don't have any donors lined up currently for this. The Y is doing a couple of other major projects. So we've been honest the whole time. The Y, we still have to get the Hazleton YMCA project done. That's going to cost us $10 million. We've raised 8 of 10. We gotta find the last 2. That's the hardest part. We're also trying to build a new dining hall at camp. That project would be in the queue ahead of this project. That's a $3 million project. We have 1.8 million raised of that $3 million. We've gotten really good at grants. That's one of the benefits that comes with scale. Because we have all these facilities now, it makes sense for us to be on top of every grant program that there is. We have grant professionals for this. The legislators have gotten used to us asking for them. There's a new program called the Neighborhood Assistance Program. We've had boatloads of success. It's a program where corporations get a tax credit for the money that gets donated to a nonprofit for a priority program. That's been huge for us in what we've done with the capital campaign. And they give different ratings of tax credits based on the style of program. Child care touches workforce development, that qualifies for 90%. So a donor that would normally give us $10,000, a corporation that would normally give us $10,000 as a gift, can now give us $100,000 as a gift through this NAP program, and it only costs them $10,000. It's true, I promise. I promise. It's a 9% tax credit. There's other ones where it's only 65. If you're child care or blight remediation, it's 90%.
Maybe I could help the conversation along, if I could. Yeah, so my name's Matt Crone. I'm a resident of Freeland, lifelong, reside at 939 Birkbeck Street. It's interesting that you said that you wanted public input, because I emailed Mr. Thomas in August. I received an email back from you in which you told me that I was condescending, ironically in a very condescending manner. But I just wanted to put that out there. So there could have been conversation prior to tonight, but we'll set that aside. You know, thank you for coming. Thank you for the background information.
And Mr. Cohen, if I could address that, if you will.
Sure.
Then I'll explain it. I'm a volunteer, and no good deed comes unpunished. The reason I'm here and not Jim Thomas is that Jim Thomas is sick. Jim Thomas has been going through cancer treatments for like 6 months. The guy's done that job for 40 years. He's done it really well. You started the email by calling him unethical. You said, shame on you, Mr. Thomas. And he forwarded to me about what do we do, because I've led this project, I've led the task force.